what's new for Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair after Elimination Chamber. We'll also get into what's up with Liv Morgan, Gunther, and more. Starting things off with the latest for Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. A few weeks ago, heading into Elimination Chamber, we discussed how the Elimination Chamber seemed like a good opportunity to keep building the tension and fallout with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, because Royal Rumble laid it on pretty thick. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss were the first two entrants. They teased fighting each other, but did not really do it. And that night ended for them with Charlotte Flair accidentally eliminating Alexa Bliss and Alexa being very shocked. Judging based off the catalyst right there that we saw at the Royal Rumble, we thought the story would continue in that direction, and could have continued at Elimination Chamber. Alexa and Charlotte both could have been in the Elimination Chamber match, working side by side, but in the heat of the moment and the chaos that is Elimination Chamber match, maybe those plans would have fell apart, and maybe Charlotte or Alexa would have pinned and eliminated each other during the match. Another shocking elimination over each other inside, but this time in the chamber. The Royal Rumble situation was accidental, but here in the Elimination Chamber, Alexa or Charlotte would have purposely taken advantage of the situation and eliminated the other from the chamber match. A moment like that would have definitely dug deeper and served as an interesting follow-up moment to what happened at Royal Rumble. We saw Alexa Bliss give Charlotte a pass for what happened at the Royal Rumble, and Alexa blamed Nia Jax for the elimination, not Charlotte. But it would have been pretty interesting to see Charlotte eliminate Alexa Bliss, and see if Alexa would have been that forgiving this time around. That really would have made the tension rise a lot. But as we saw, they did not go down that path. Charlotte Flair did not even qualify for the Elimination Chamber match. They reportedly did not put Charlotte into the match, since pretty much everybody expected Charlotte to automatically qualify for the match. So in an attempt to shock and swerve everyone, that's why they had Kiana James qualify instead. And sure, that was a big surprise, but it definitely would have been nice to see Alexa and Charlotte's story progress inside the chamber match, to get a look at how united they really are, especially in a match that's supposed to be everyone for themselves. And obviously, if their eliminations would have involved each other, that's a way to keep the story going after the match and keep something flowing there. Because as it stands right now, before the March 6th edition of Smackdown, Alexa and Charlotte have no real storyline going on right now. Everyone thought that the Royal Rumble was the start of the fallout, but we're not too sure anymore. The storytelling could be very inconsistent at times. They seem like they're going full steam ahead with the story direction, but then they pause it, drop it, and come back to it several months later. Sort of like the Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio situation. That's a good example of that. WWE began teasing the fallout between Finn Balor and Dominic back in spring of 2025. And here we are, a full year later, and we still haven't seen that full fallout yet. So although they teased some tension between Alexa and Charlotte back in January, if they're going to treat the fallout like they did with Finn and Dominic, then it may be another calendar year before we see Alexa and Charlotte really fall out with each other. These storylines just get so stretched out that it may be a very long time before we actually see Charlotte and Alexa betray each other. A few months back, everyone was wondering if Alexa versus Charlotte at WrestleMania 42 was on the table as a match possibility. But with WrestleMania 42 quickly approaching, and Charlotte and Alexa's story being very stagnant right now, it does not seem like Charlotte versus Alexa is a possibility for WrestleMania anymore. Unless it's going to be a rush storyline, it just does not seem like there's enough time or solid seeds in place for that WrestleMania matchup. So maybe they'll save it for SummerSlam, and maybe they can give it some more time to plant the seeds properly. It will definitely be fascinating to see what direction they can take Alexa and Charlotte in over these next few weeks, because they don't have much story going on in any way at this current moment. Speaking of questionable WrestleMania plans, that brings us to Gunther. Gunther is hot and fresh off his 3 massive retirement matches in recent months. He retired Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles. And coming off that run, fans figure that Gunther surely has to have a massive match at WrestleMania as well. Well, with WrestleMania just over a month away, Gunther currently has no storyline or feud in place for WrestleMania. Gunther is currently feuding with Dragon Lee, but no one really expects that to be his WrestleMania matchup. Well, according to WrestleVotes, 3 big names are being looked at as WrestleMania possibilities for Gunther. Those 3 names being Brock Lesnar, Rey Mysterio, and Obafemi. And all 3 of these names would be very interesting WrestleMania matchups, starting with Brock Lesnar. That's a match that Gunther has stated several times as his biggest dream match. and it was actually first teased several years ago when they came face to face in the Royal Rumble match. The rumor in recent months was that WWE was allegedly saving Gunther versus Brock for SummerSlam and how it could have been Brock's retirement match. That's been the long-time rumor there for these two meeting in the ring. But it looks like if they can't find separate opponents for them to face at WrestleMania 42, they may be willing to push that match to WrestleMania 42 instead and have them face off there. Maybe SummerSlam could be the rematch and still be the retirement match, who knows? So Brock Lesnar versus Gunther is definitely a WrestleMania-worthy matchup. Next up with Rey Mysterio. We actually just discussed a Rey versus Gunther matchup a few days back because it did make sense and the seeds were in place. Gunther has been beating up Dragon Lee, who had a very close bond with Rey Mysterio. So as those beatdowns continue, Rey Mysterio could eventually pop out and confront Gunther on behalf of his good friend Dragon Lee. And if Rey Mysterio does confront Gunther, we know where that's probably headed to next. And that's Gunther demanding for Rey Mysterio to put his career on the line. And like we discussed previously, Rey Mysterio has been locked in on this retirement match being with Dominic Mysterio, but it feels like nowadays you cannot have a retirement without Gunther being involved. So could Gunther be Rey Mysterio's final opponent there if the match takes place at WrestleMania 42? It sure does seem like a possibility. Then you have Obafemi. This is the only superstar out of the three that's not in danger of losing their career to Gunther. Obafemi is a young star that's brand new to the main roster, so Gunther can't even try to bring the retirement stipulation into play here. That matchup could be about Obafemi stepping up to the plate to take down Gunther. Obafemi is all about being the ruler, destroying everything in his path, and conquering. No better way to do that than by taking down Gunther and destroying everything he's been building in recent months. And that's definitely another WrestleMania-worthy matchup right there. So with all three of these WrestleMania possibilities for Gunther, they're all solid choices that could have a good story in place, no matter what direction they decide to go in. Gunther's WrestleMania opponent should become more clear here in the coming weeks. After taking that brutal verbal beatdown from Stephanie a few weeks ago that left her in tears, fans couldn't wait to see Liv Morgan fire back. And that's exactly what she did during a recent vignette on Raw. Liv made mention about how Stephanie does not know the struggles that she went through, but Liv also embraced some of the things that Stephanie said. Liv said that she herself got signed to WWE on her first tryout at 20 years old, while Stephanie was turned away and rejected during her first WWE tryout. Liv also sarcastically apologized for having the state-of-the-art WWE Performance Center at her disposal, while Stephanie was in mud huts for 10 years. Liv also jabbed Stephanie for only ever talking about her past and nothing else. Liv also said that Stephanie will find out everything she needs to know about her at WrestleMania during their matchup. That story has been pretty solid so far. Lots of respectable, yet still personal shots at each other, and fans are hyped for that one. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.